Hi, my name is Dr. John Douillard, and welcome to LifeSpa.com, where we prove ancient medical wisdom with modern science. And today, I want to talk about an ancient concept called eating breakfast. You know, 28% of adult males don't eat breakfast, and there's a ton of science that suggests skipping breakfast may be a really bad idea. There's an article with this video that goes into the details of the science, but let me share with you some of the highlights. First of all, the ancient wisdom says that breakfast is a very, very important meal of the day. We know that in the morning, when you wake up, blood sugar levels rise to get you some energy, some sugar into your bloodstream to get your muscles to go so you can start the day. If you don't eat breakfast, sometimes that blood sugar can stay high in the bloodstream and linger in your bloodstream and cause a host of damage, which may be responsible for a lot of the science I'm going to share with you in just a minute. If you eat a meal at breakfast time, that meal forces insulin, and insulin drives that sugar into the bloodstream, into the cells rather, so you can then deliver energy to your muscles to go, do your daily work or exercise or whatever it might be. So this is a traditional thing. Breakfast and lunch in Ayurvedic medicine were the most important meals of the day, and supper has been shown to be supplemental or soup-like, something not so important. Now with circadian medicine, that science is really clear. Our digestive strength is stronger in the daytime, weaker at the night, and I've written a lot about that. But breakfast is something I haven't written about, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about that. Studies show that people who skip breakfast have a higher risk of gaining weight and obesity. In one report, over 19 studies were evaluated, and they found that the people who ate breakfast on a regular basis weighed less and had a lower risk of obesity, which was really interesting. Brain function studies show that when people skip breakfast, they have a higher risk of cognitive decline. And that was one report that actually evaluated over 38 different studies and found those findings. Now, the brain boost after breakfast was definitely bigger in the first part of the day, but there was also a cumulative, long-lasting benefit that was there as well. Studies show that when people exercise or have breakfast in the morning, then you go exercise, which a lot of people do, it turns out that the carbohydrates that you actually burn during the exercise is more significant. And the carbs you burn are not just the carbs you burn from eating breakfast, but they're actually burning extra stored carbs that we have stored in our liver and our fat cells. Or in our muscle cells. So it's very important to realize that having breakfast is a really important meal before you work out, because it actually enhances your ability to burn those carbs. A lot of people want to get rid of those carbs to actually lose weight or whatever. And breakfast, even though you would think it wouldn't, it actually does help you lose weight, according to this very new study. Study after study after study shows that people who eat breakfast have a significantly lower risk of type 2 diabetes for the reasons I mentioned earlier, which is that it helps to lower those insulin levels and stabilize them for the day, which is important. Studies show that people who skip breakfast have a higher risk of arterial plaque. They have a higher risk of higher blood pressure. People who skip breakfast have a higher risk of what's called metabolic syndrome, which includes high blood pressure, belly fat, high triglycerides, high cholesterol, and of course, high blood sugar or type 2 diabetes. It's called metabolic syndrome. So people who eat breakfast start their day stabilizing their blood sugar for the day, which is really, really important. Once you eat that meal, then your body burns all that fat, say after exercise, or burns all that sugar that you ate, and any reserve sugar, what's left to burn? Your fat. So one of the best ways to get your body to actually become a better fat burner, which is stable fuel, more energy, not craving throughout the day, sleeping deeper through the night, is to actually have a good breakfast. And the better breakfast that you have, the more stable your blood sugar will become later on in the day. You'll burn all the carbohydrates up first if you exercise after that meal, after that breakfast meal, and then you'll more quickly jump into fat burning. And finally, I think the study that sort of blew my mind was people actually live longer. And one study in Japan with over 83,000 people, they found that people who skip breakfast have a higher risk of dying from any cause than people who actually eat their breakfast. So again, lots and lots of research. Now, I should say, there are definitely studies that say that breakfast doesn't seem to matter, and it didn't hold up in every single study. So there's definitely studies on the other side of the aisle. But as you can see, the studies that I cited were pretty massive and pretty big. I think the limiting factor to these studies are, what did they have for breakfast? If you had, Twinkies or something really bad, that's not going to be healthy for you. And when you had breakfast and when you had supper. One study did report on those factors, which I think is critical. If you're eating a late supper and a big, processed food breakfast, it's not going to be healthy. But overall, the general theme in all of these studies was that skipping breakfast is really a bad thing. So I highly recommend, and definitely for your kids, to wake up a little bit earlier, sit down, and as we always talk about in Ayurveda, it's not just what you eat, it's how you eat and when. A morning breakfast in a relaxed way, eating whole foods, non-processed foods in season is critically important for the optimal benefits of having breakfast. And please make sure that you change those rules. I used to skip breakfast years ago, and I highly recommend changing those habits. We now have some pretty good science to suggest that they are actually bad habits. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard. Do you like this video? Don't forget to subscribe and share.
This recording is brought to you by LifeSpa, where ancient Ayurvedic wisdom meets modern science. Get access to free health video newsletters by Dr. John at LifeSpa.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.